All right, welcome to the Legendary Upside YouTube channel. With me today, Patrick Daugherty, RotoPat of Rotoworld. Pat, how's it going?
Very, very good. It's March 28th. That means it's about time for me to be disastrously behind on any draft prep and also doing my annual coach rankings article, which I haven't started. And
I love that article.
Thank you. I wanted to have it published by around April 1st, but my word count, let's see here real quick, is 0. It's 0. So we have begun an outline.
Pat, I've got bad news. It is March 28th, and it's Friday afternoon.
It's a Friday. I mean, obviously, I'm not working this weekend, so yep, got some work to do in the coming weeks.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be on here with you today. I'm gonna try to make this like this is the first time I've done one of these Friday best ball streams with the guest outside kind of the normal leg up crew.
The sickos.
But yeah, gonna be trying to do this more regularly as we kind of settle in here to the heart of best ball season. Once the draft happens, it's like the summer starts. The summer starts the second the draft begins, basically.
What percent of your teams do you draft before the draft? Like single digit or?
Yeah, not a ton, because there's only like the big board's open. That's 150. I actually didn't do any of the little board, which I think was 50 max. And then DraftKings has launched contests as well. So you could, if you did everything, you could probably get like 400 drafts in.
Wow.
Maybe more.
All right. Yeah.
No,
don't say maybe more.
Yeah. So like maybe like 5% of your action.
Yeah. What is a more important, by the way, turning point, the draft or the schedule release? What is more important?
The best ball site goes instantly correcting me.
Right. Yeah, around 700.
The draft is more important than the schedule. I know you want me to say the schedule. This is
I did. Well, because I know that you know that it's the schedule in your heart of hearts.
No, it's unfortunately for the bit, it is the draft is much more important. But the schedule's nice. Today I drafted Patrick Mahomes, stacked him up, and then I drew Franklin and Devon Vele, and I was like, the Chiefs Broncos week 17.
Well, yeah, because
you're
trying to forecast divisional matchups. Is it too like? Is there like, if you're drafting now, are you inordinately focused on teams that we don't think are really going to get jolted in the draft? Because it's probably pretty unlikely the Chiefs are going to use a first or second round pick on a receiver, I would say. Are you focusing on teams where you're projecting no big changes, or are you like leaning into volatility, or there's teams?
A little bit of both. I mean, it's like, so for example, Chase Brown goes at like the 3-4 turn. If they don't draft a running back, he probably goes up to like the 2-3 turn.
Wow.
And so you can
done 0 drafts so far, by the way. I
figured, yeah.
I kind of want to do one, to be honest, but
you're allowed.
There's nothing I can do about it.
But like, I'm not hammering Chase Brown there, but I think he's fine. Like we took him this morning on the draft I did with Davis. But I do, yeah, I think like, for example, the Panthers, I'm kind of more into Chuba Hubbard than most people, because in part like because of the Dowdle signing. So I'm like, okay, they already just spent a second round pick on Brooks, who won't give them anything this year, but they signed Hubbard. They have him like for like 3 more years. They now have Dowdle. Like they're pretty set at running back both this year and like long term. If they expect to get anything from Brooks in the coming years, like they just don't need to invest anything significant. Maybe a day 3 pick, but even that they might not do.
And the commitment in Chuba is like way bigger than the commitment in Dowdle. Dowdle, one of the big losers of free agency. You really do truly hate to see it. But
yeah, that was
a tough one.
It was a tough one. When these tournaments opened up, he was being drafted at like, I think like 110-ish, because people are like, oh, running it back. Well, we're not running it back.
No, what's the opposite of running it back? We're shutting it down.
We're shutting it down. Now, I've been drafting since, I guess, January. So things have gotten pretty. I was telling Davis I want the meme, the best ball meme. Are you familiar with the guy tunneling for diamonds?
Yes.
Yeah, I want that meme, but it's a rabbit. Like we're tunneling deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. This morning, we have this reference here: Jill Stein, Gadsden Oronde Gatson. This is Oronde Gatson. You were saying now what we were.
Yeah, when I saw Jill Stein, I think politics, which made me think of the Gadsden flag, which I believe is the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah. So no, I'm totally unfamiliar with any context with what this might be. The Gadsden flag is the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. We were saying there's both right wing and left wing slappies, slappy players, and that Oronde Gatson was sort of a third party candidate in the mold of Jill Stein.
Who's the ultimate left wing slappy player? That guy Davis is friends with? No offense, that guy.
Well, which guy? Patrick Laird or or the Raiders dude, Dylan Laube.
Oh yeah, Laube. Ooh, Laube. Yeah, that was a real tough one. I'm going to be honest. I will defend the Laube slappies. I would have maybe tried to give Laube some touches last year. I'm not really sure what the Raiders were doing there, but I guess the problem is that he probably was not any good at all whatsoever. He must have. Just absolutely sucked. So,
you think that was it?
Yeah, that might.
No. I don't think that was it. I don't think that was it.
That appeared to be the problem with Dylan Laube.
Oh man, yeah. Gadsden actually just changed parties again off of the flag. The flag.
The left has reclaimed the Gadsden flag. That's good.
I guess so.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, that is good to hear. Now, you're familiar with Denny Carter, who has never logged off?
Nope.
Based on what I just told you, should I log off?
No.
Okay.
And you're like it's a different kind of logged on because you're more in like Discord stuff. You're more in streaming. You're part of like an actual community, I would say, instead of more just like wider being logged on. Like Denny and I are just like for like wide lens logged on, like never not reading news, never not posting, where you're logged on and more of like a message board, old school fashion. I would say. Where you might actually learn something and like cultivate relationships.
Some of my earliest content was helping out Pete Manzanelli film his videos. So the community is a big part of this for me.
What happened to Pete Manzanelli?
He's still kicking around, I think.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he's still around. All right, let's go ahead. I'm delighted to jump into best ball draft with you. We've got Brad saying if you've never tapped in for a RotoPat best ball draft, you're in for a treat.
Hello, Brad. What's up?
It's a breath of fresh air because you're not in these streets, and we're deep in the streets. I've done. Let's see how many of these I've done real quick. So I've completed 66 big board drafts, and Pat, I feel behind. I objectively am behind. The tournament's almost 70% full, and I'm less than halfway done to maxing it, which I would like to do. So
yeah, I'm not in these streets. You are in these streets with an unlicensed vegetable cart. That's how deep into these streets you are. Like you live on this street. Yeah, you're like I'm thinking of like a 1850s New York City like street urchin type.
Oh. Yeah. No, I'd be selling like street seafood, I think.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Street sushi.
No. Well, my favorite thing to purchase is crabs, the live crabs. So I'd like to think I would kind of pay it forward and provide live crabs to the community.
And you'd be like one of those street stalls. Their people's friends would be convincing each other. Like, no, dude, trust me. Like, you won't get sick from these ones. Like, this guy's legit.
Yeah. Like, I want someone pointing at what they want, and I'm just going, just throwing in a bag.
This is one of those stalls that's not going to sicken you. I promise, bro.
I like the paper bag with a plastic bag around the paper bag.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That's always a good motif.
It's a good move. All right, let's jump in.
Yeah, I hope I'm not hopelessly out of touch because I have literally not done a draft. But
let me zoom in.
Yeah, you're gonna need to zoom. Either that, or do I need glasses? Let's see here. Boy.
So we do have the sidekick, Pat, which is our dynamic rankings tool over at Legendary Upside.
That's pretty.
That should help. Should help keep things at least somewhat on the rails.
Right.
Pat's gonna give us crabs.
Okay, come on, man.
My favorite thing is to buy live crabs. We are less than 15 minutes in. I haven't bought live crabs in a long time.
I have never bought live crabs as someone who lives on the third coast, aka No Coast. Actually, No Coast is one of the nicknames for part of this part of the country. It's a nice concert venue in Columbia, Missouri, where I went to school.
No Coast concert venue?
No Coast concert venue. Although our great rivers will take you to the coast if you want to go. I could just walk right out my door and get on the Mississippi River. I could be at the coast.
Are you saying you float? If you want to go to the coast, the easiest thing for you to do is to float down the Mississippi River until you reach the Gulf?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Good God, man.
4-week journey.
4 weeks down the Mississippi?
Which I'm sure is very safe. There? I'm sure it's very, very safe, to float down the Mississippi.
Are you in a Mark Twain book?
On it, more or less, yeah. I live right almost at the confluence of our great rivers. It's a underrated part of our country. Very fertile soil.
It's good to know.
Fertile soil we're to draft a best ball team.
We're out of the 8 hole.
All right. So I know off the top of your head, who are the primary 2 or 3 you're typically getting at 8.
Yeah, you're looking at a wide receiver here usually, and then
what a surprise! Oh, I've never heard that one before.
This is gonna blow you away. And then the second round, probably go wide receiver. 3rd, 4th, 5th.
And all the league winners last year, by the way, were receivers, right?
Yeah, it was a great year for receiver, and you definitely didn't want to fade receiver early by taking like Saquon Barkley or something dumb like that.
I and even all my boomer redraft leagues. 0 Saquon. Honestly, almost even 0 Derrick Henry, despite being one of like the biggest extollers of his virtues. He was always too expensive, even for me. I never drafted him. And I am a receiver slappy at heart. Because we just basically, if you get in the industry, it's like, well, obviously I'm never drafting a running back.
Sorry, I'm tilted by this comment. Might as well shuck some oysters from your street cart. That's exactly what I'm proposing. That we'd sit down. We have like a little table so you can get like do we have an alcohol license? Who's to say? But we are serving wine. Sit down and have some oysters, man. You're welcome, by the way.
Some oysters, all right.
So we're looking at these receivers. We got Puka, we got Nico, we got Neighbors, we got Amon-Ra, we got Brian Thomas. Anybody jump out to you here?
Well, Brian Thomas would be my I love shiny objects pick. And I love big play threats. It feels like I think Amon-Ra's the safest. Puka was the one I wanted to take, just to be honest. But are we thinking of quarterback stacking purposes?
See, look, man, he's the top by ADP. You're dialed in.
Yeah, so Puka, I'm like way more in on Puka now that he's talking about retiring. A few years ago, this guy's selling out every year. Like this guy, he's getting cortisone shots. Like, not that I condone that kind of thing, but this guy's getting Toradol. Like he's going to play through it all. Like he wants to get his money's worth these next few years. And like we're getting warpath rampaging Puka and for the next 3 or 4 seasons.
Until he has more kids than you, I believe.
I know. He did. He's aiming high.
Did you interview him are you responsible for this?
I have interviewed him. I don't remember if I was, dude, you need to just not even play.
You do encourage. No one encourages children more. It's like your mother and RotoPat. Like listen. Whoever one's mother and RotoPat would be in that order. The one encouraging.
All I'm gonna say, it's not a religious thing, as you know. All I'm gonna say, there's way too much focus with children on the selfless case. Like, oh, you're giving your life away. There's not enough focus on the selfish case. Like, dude, I'm gonna literally create a family. This is sick, man. That's what Puka's like. Dude, this is sick.
What are you talking about? This is sick. You gotta sell it harder than
this is sick, bro.
This is so sick, bro. I'm gonna have like 5 kids, dude.
Think about while you're out there buying a car, I'm creating a kid. So
now you said it's not like religious or related to your heritage. No. What is the heritage and religion? Just out of curiosity.
Listen, just because I'm descended from long lines of German farmers and Irish Catholics doesn't mean it has anything to do with religion or culture. Literally nothing to do with that. Yeah, it might have something.
Yeah, it's not related.
Literally in my bones.
It's literally in your bones.
What are we thinking here?
Well, the sidekick likes Brock Bowers, and that's because I created it. If
you want Bowers or AJ Brown, I would sign off on both those. Henry wasn't really tempting me there.
No, Bowers to me, I just take an ungodly amount of Bowers. I think he's honestly, kind of compare it to Puka, where it's like he just had the season he just had as a rookie was insane, and then we're getting a discount on that season, and with Bowers you get the tight end eligibility. Like,
so you bring me in for the Galaxy Brain Boomer takes and points. Since you're the ultimate Zoomer at heart, best ball drafter, and I'm the Boomer, redraft drafter. The true Galaxy, not actual concern whatsoever for Brock Bowers. Is that one of what was one of the main memes of Pete Carroll from Seattle was his army of tight ends, and for some reason there's always like 3 or 4 tight ends getting snaps. I'm telling you, this is really Galaxy Brain, but like every week, like why? Who is this new tight end? For some reason,
well, Chip Kelly used Ertz, didn't he, when he was in Philly? Is that wrong?
No, that's right. That is right. I forgot. Now there's a Chip Kelly factor. There's a Carroll factor. There's a Geno factor. There's a Genty factor. Maybe there's a lot of different factors at play.
Yeah, I think the Chip Kelly factor is pretty bullish. It's
the
like
Chip
well-designed offense.
I can never understand like what even is Chip's identity. Chip, honestly, credit to Chip for like constantly reinventing himself, because I feel like I don't even know what Chip Kelly's like current identity is.
I would say my perception of it anyway is that he's going to have a strong run game. They're going to play with pace, and they're going to have an efficient passing attack.
Those do sound like 3, what you would say, reliable hallmarks of the Chip offense. Yeah. A strong running game more than anything else, I would say.
Yeah. But it's like one of those things where you don't mind the running as much. Like, you don't mind Arthur Smith's running to try to end the game.
Yeah.
Like, he would like the game to be over now. Like, as soon as kickoff happens, he would like the game to be over now. Right? Yes. Chip Kelly's out there trying to score points. It's a little different.
Pete, though, is a once the game over dude, right? Didn't the Seahawks run fewer than 1,000 plays last year? The last Chip year, the last Carroll year, or was that this year? Or the year where the Seahawks ran like no plays? I think that was the final Carroll season. Or I think they ran like 970 plays.
We owe him a little bit of an apology for the Russell stuff. You know, the let Russ cook.
Pete is the ultimate. Pete did nothing wrong.
Pete did nothing wrong.
Nothing ever wrong. Pete did nothing wrong. Chip was a really good. He was a good outcome for this offense.
I think he's a very good outcome, and I think Geno's a good outcome. I think Geno's good.
Is he? The Geno, they got you. The Geno lobby.
They got me, dude. They got me. I've been listening to Ball Knowers, and they've convinced me that Geno is actually awesome.
Ball Knowers, he is their favorite player, especially now Stafford's kind of in decline. They're all on board with
the Ball Knowers love Geno, but I'm in. I think for me, part of it is like he's got a consistently good success rate, and his protection was not good. No, he's getting the ball out quickly. It's a limited offense.
He's always made offensive lines look worse than they actually are, though. That's like one of the hallmarks of Geno, I feel like. That's kind of what he was famous for with the Jets. Not that it was good.
Come on. He was famous for getting punched in the face. He was not by his own teammate. He was not famous for he got benched after like 1 year.
That's right. Well, he took a lot of sacks, though.
Took a lot of hits.
What is the sidekick
to his face? All right, so we got sidekick. I'm guessing is going to either want Garrett Wilson or Breece Hall. Oh, yeah, it's got Kerrane over Garrett Wilson because we got Puka. Little teammate correlation in there. I like Garrett here a lot. Thoughts?
I like Garrett, although Denny has been poisoning me lately with, is Garrett Wilson good? Like, he did just asking questions. Like, is Garrett Wilson good?
I know, because the metrics don't love him. But you know what the metrics don't love? Aaron Rodgers replacing you with Alan Lazard because he's Aaron Rodgers. The metrics don't like it, but Garrett Wilson's really good.
Garrett, the only concerns I have are kind of some of the like. Sometimes I almost fear when there's an alpha in a group and then there's no one else, because like our tendency is to think, 170 targets guaranteed, where it could be more like, well, the defense is just going to bracket him every single play. And,
right. I'm thinking of him kind of like DJ Moore the year we took him in the 3rd round, and he was super polarizing. And he was a terrible pick from like a redraft perspective, but a pretty good best ball pick because when he went for 50 points that 1 week. Like when it was clicking, it was awesome. Wilson's a bit of a different player. He's not as explosive as Moore, but he's a really good player, and he's pretty explosive.
He's pretty explosive, and he's still like really young, right?
He's still, yeah.
Hopefully, a Lions mentality too getting instilled there. Where, I mean, you'd have to think the overall environment is just going to be so much better, even if like it's a little less talented of an offense this year. It is. Garrett Wilson is not someone where I know I'm going to be like concerned this year, where I'm on the clock or whatever. He feels like a safe pick to me. Famous last words, I guess, but he feels.
No, I'm into him at this price. I mean,
so we got.
He's just a really, really talented player.
2 receivers and a tight end. I am not gonna be stumping for running backs, by the way. I mean, like whatever.
I think the sidekick's gonna be interested in Lamar or Daniels. I want to take Amari in Hampton here. He just goes. Okay. Do you have any interest in the quarterbacks or?
Not really, unless you do. I mean, unless someone smart.
Really?
Does.
Yeah. See, we could go like Rashi or Zay or. Does anything jump out?
Maybe Zay.
We could go Lamar and try to get Zay to come back.
All right, do that. Actually, I was gonna say Lamar over Jaden Daniels. Even Jaden Daniels was almost like spooky how good he was as a rookie, but it felt like kind of the classic. Like we just think like the ultimate, like when a young player has an amazing season, we're like, well, he's gonna only get better. Like, no, it's a pretty good chance it actually could be the best season he has, like the next 3 or 4 years. And like, how is he gonna have a better season than what he just had? Is kind of how I feel about Jayden. So he's not like he's gonna be bad, but I still feel like a much safer investment is Lamar. Like the track record.
Yeah.
Talk about a track record. Like one of the most absurd track records we've basically ever seen in fantasy at this point.
I know.
So.
Yeah, I highly doubt Flowers actually comes back, but it just feels like a tier break to me there at receiver. I think going quarterback. I don't go these elite quarterbacks very much, but Hampton going off, like Hampton, James Cook, Chase Brown, Breece Hall, Kerrane. I would have taken all those guys at that spot. But like at wide receiver, it just feels like Devontae Smith I actually kind of like. But he was gone as well. And Worthy gone, Adams gone.
What team is Hampton supposed to be on? Like, where I guess he's like almost impossible to project.
So he's been mocked as high as 10 to the Bears.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
McShay had him 10 to the Bears.
Wow.
I
was gonna say he's probably not sneaking into the first round. I knew there.
Oh no. He seems like almost like a damn near lock for the first round now.
That's kind of cool.
I think he's still pretty underdrafted in here because I think he's going to be a first-round running back.
That's pretty cool. I mean, even though I can't say I would do it if I were a GM, like in fantasy, I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah! Like they're going to actually have to use this guy. Sign me up. Like I love when teams draft running backs in a position where they have to use them.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really cool. Like again, I would never do it if I had your job, but I love it for the purposes of my job because now I know I can draft him.
Yeah, I mean, and you could see him going to like the Broncos.
The Broncos, they got to do something. The Broncos have to do something. I thought the Chargers had to make a splash. I guess in their minds they did. The Broncos and the Chargers were the two teams like they're going to go out and invest actual capital in running backs.
I mean, I think the Chargers could take him.
They probably still could.
If he's there. The Steelers could take him.
Yeah, they could. Friggin' Najee, man.
The Cowboys could take him.
Oh, boy, you're right about that. Oh, man. Or the Cowboys could trade up for Genty. Or maybe they
might have to trade up to 6.
I know. Yeah, he's not
getting our boy Chip Kelly's gonna.
He's not.
That's how he gets his strong running game.
He's not getting past 6. What are we thinking? So no running back. You have a tight end and a quarterback through 4 picks. How often does that happen?
A decent amount because I just have a ton of Bowers and a ton of McBride, and I take Kittle. So it's not uncommon, but I think we go Addison or Sutton here. Would be do you like either of those guys?
I feel like every year with Addison, there's so many question marks. Like, who's he going to be playing with? Like, how good are they actually going to be? Like, I feel like the Vikings team environment varies so much year to year, including like who's going to be the quarterback.
Do you have a receiver you like here?
Addison is the only one who I feel like still has like another level he could ascend to. and I'm comfortable with the level he's currently at. So I would probably say Addison, just to be honest. I feel like Waddle is probably overdue to like actually have a pretty big fantasy season again at some point. I feel like he's been getting kind of unlucky in fantasy, but like Addison, to talk about a better and best ball player, and I think just on the whole, he probably still has another level to ascend.
I agree. I think Addison's good, which is like,
we like that.
We like that.
We like
just like players fail because they suck.
He is, like that's
players
true. Like,
can succeed because they're good.
Yes, Addison is certified good. Like he's just clearly good because he's constantly in situations where like, well, there's just no way Addison can even get to, and he got 8 targets and scored 2 touchdowns. Like he's good. Good players force the issue. He forces the issue, even with like elite teammates. He somehow still commands the ball. Maybe not every week, but like Jordan Addison doesn't disappear for long stretches of the season. It's never been like 4 weeks. Like, man, Jordan Addison hasn't scored a fantasy in like a month.
Yeah, dude. I was listening to you guys last year, and it was like with the Waddle stuff, and Denny was like, "He's a wide receiver 4." I was like, "Come on, no, Denny."
I know,
Denny. And then like for the next 3 weeks, he performed exactly like a wide receiver 4 does.
Is Waddle just like the classic where we underestimate the impact of minor injuries? Like he's got a guy where it's just there's so much stuff chipping away. Maybe his explosiveness. I don't really think that's the issue. I just kind of wonder if that is the issue with Waddle. But like you can only suffer so many minor injuries and remain yourself.
I think sort of Waddle is to wide receiver as Jonnu Smith is to tight end, and kind of the pendulum swung. Like the offensive design pendulum went from like everything revolves around getting the ball to the middle of the downfield and over the middle of the field in rhythm, which is all Waddle and Hill, obviously. And then it swung to get the ball out as quickly as humanly possible because we cannot protect this guy who's had a million concussions. And that's not Waddle, that's Jonnu, and that's Achane. And that's when their production spiked.
Man, Achane. I love it.
Or put more simply, he was always a PPR scam.
Which is why he can be one again. He can be one again.
Yeah, Olave over Waddle is Tyler saying. I guess I don't have the super chat function turned on because Tyler was saying he was going to super chat, but he just wanted to shout out
what's up?
How much he enjoys your social media.
I love emo Tyler. I love Tyler's social media as well. What's up, brother? Nice, make it weird.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Waddle's here.
I don't know.
Do you have any interest?
Who do I have interest in? I mean, I don't not have interest in Waddle. I guess the classic
sidekicks like Myers, Pickens, Ridley. I mix in more than I used to. Yeah, I know.
If you can stomach Waddle, I would take Waddle there.
Okay.
I feel like there's been an element of bad luck to Waddle's struggles.
I don't take Waddle much, but I think it's okay.
I mean, Tyreek is the ultimate. He's not getting any younger. The Jonnu thing, like that engine was smoking. Like that was running unsustainably hot. Like even though he's clearly a legitimate part of the offense, like I feel like they redlined that one. Like that can't run that hot again. And I just feel like they're gonna need more out of Jalen Waddle than they got and that they have been getting, and that I think he is still capable of providing it. I still think he is good. My only real concern is that he's taking too many hits.
Do you see what I've done here, just quietly?
I know what position you haven't drafted.
We just quietly went 0 running back.
Yep. And it's not even quiet. I mean, it's loud, and it's just like,
I pretended that we were going to take running back in the 4th. Hampton. He just went.
Yeah, that's true. You did. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the guy who doesn't even have a team. I was really into that until.
I only take running backs if I don't know where they're going to play.
Yeah. Oh darn, that's a shame.
As soon as I know what team they're on, I lose all interest.
I don't love this. Is my initial studies for the 2025 season. I do not love running back this year. Do we ever love running back? I guess I've been trying to.
You mean for fantasy, not the rookies? You mean?
Yeah, no, not the rookies. Just like doesn't feel like it's going to be a strong. It feels like a year where you're a lot of like nose holding when drafting running backs. Is this my initial feeling? But whereas last year felt kind of exciting because there was a lot of team changing. You could like tell yourself any story you wanted to last year.
Right.
There was like there was like absolutely no like impactful team changing really this spring. I guess Najee Harris, but
the running back class in free agency was horrendous.
Just dire, like totally dire.
And the rookie running back class is really good, and teams knew that, and so they kind of approached free agency the way you would expect them to if they are basically like, we're just going to get our running back in the draft.
Yeah, and there's a lot of old workhorses. Like, what are we going to do with Christian McCaffrey? Like, Kerrane always scares people. Josh Jacobs, no one ever wants to do.
What do you think about McCaffrey? He's going at like the 1-2 turn, early second. Davis is making the point that ADP is definitely wrong. He should either be in the first rounds, like probably, top 6, or like the 4th because he's done.
I agree. I would actually agree with that. I guess I lean more towards the top of the first because they're getting rid of all of his backups. I guess clearly they're going to draft somebody, but I don't like they're getting rid of all of his backups. Like they don't seem too worried about CMC. Like they got rid of 2 of his direct backups. They're going to add someone, obviously, but I don't know.
Let me ask you, because we're up on the clock in a few minutes. Luther Burden, where are you at?
He's a weird one. He's Percy Harvin 2.0, is my opinion on Luther Burden.
Interesting.
Like, it could have been like we don't have the most creative coaching staff in Missouri. It's a good coaching staff, but it's not like a groundbreaking coaching staff. Brady Cook was very limited, but for being such an elite player, like he'd go 2 quarters without getting the ball. It seemed like a little too difficult to get him the ball. And again, maybe it wasn't his fault. He's like stunningly, shockingly strong. He's like really, really strong. He is really, really explosive. But it seemed like sometimes it was a little too difficult to get him the ball. And he is like a first ballot Hall of Famer when it comes to, I've caught the ball. You know what that means. Now it's time to limp off the field. There's 2 steps to every catch, to catch it and then limp off the field. He's one of those guys.
Okay. Well, that's not the most exciting thing I've ever heard. Caleb Johnson falling here feels kind of nice.
I know nothing about Caleb Johnson.
He's like he's a big, he's like 220 pounds. He ran in the 4.5s, which bums some people out, but that's decent at that weight.
Sounds like a perfect.
Gonna go day 2.
Sounds like a perfect RB1 to me for your team. A guy I've barely ever even heard of. Yes, I know.
Guy I've never heard of once.
No, I mean, I know he went to Iowa. Was I don't know, was he good? was he good?
He was he actually was pretty good, but he's more of like a 2-down guy. He doesn't have
I didn't even need you to say that before you did. So the only thing I remembered about him, it was Iowa. So I was like, yeah, he's probably a 2-down guy. It's like I just assume every Iowa running back is like a poor man's Najee Harris, basically.
He's explosive. He was a really good breakaway runner, but then he's not that fast. But he is big, so it's like kind of hard. Once he gets going, he's hard to bring down.
I like that. That'll play.
He's not like he doesn't have like a bunch of moves or anything. He's just kind of like, here I am.
Moves are overrated. You see, like every guys have moves. All they do is get hit behind the line of scrimmage. You don't want to have a move.
Here's a move. Get downhill.
Yeah, exactly. You ever think of that? So, as I told you, I am direly behind on the rookie class. Like we're talking direly.
Johnson was seen as maybe like an early 2nd round guy, and his stock has cooled, and now he is at risk of falling to round 3, but would be a pretty big surprise if he were to fall to day 3. He seems pretty locked in at day 2.
In round 3, guys, like you can still make somewhat safe fantasy projections with round 3 guys. Like,
yep,
as you know, like it's not at all a killer in fantasy football if a guy's a real life 3rd round pick.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to land with like the Commanders in the 3rd round, my God.
Wow, is he getting mocked to the Commanders? What are the Commanders do?
Travis Hunter goes just ahead of us. I was going to float him. Are you interested in my favorite player in the whole world, Jalen Warren?
I'm not interested. I would say there's been a vote of confidence in him. Did they add? They added what? Kenneth Gainwell.
Kenneth Gainwell.
That's always a problem because coaches, man, do they love Kenneth Gainwell.
They like Kenneth Gainwell, but they like him as like a undersized early down guy, whereas Warren's the pass catching.
They do like him as like an early down guy for some reason. That has always been nothing like Kenneth Gainwell makes sense to me. Jaylen Warren this time.
I thought he's gonna be like a scat back, like a receiver.
Yes, because he should be.
Right. And he's like a downhill runner, but he's too small to do that.
He does the little things well. So nothing coaches love more. To stop using Kenneth Gainwell, the Eagles are like, dude, if we don't actually pay a running back, we're just going to keep using Kenneth Gainwell all the time. Like we got to like make a financial investment that's too big to ignore and hope it works out. And that is what happened. That's the only reason they stopped using Kenneth Gainwell. It's because Saquon Barkley is like, I guess maybe I'll make the Hall of Fame. And that was the only way they could stop using Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah. The chat, there was a little debate. Should we have gone Andrews, stack with Lamar? I think structurally, we had the one running back who's a rookie. We already have Bowers. I think it made more sense to push tight end, but
and
we also have other stacking partners.
You bank some touches. I'm always in favor of banking touches, no matter the format, no matter like the scoring settings. Banking touches is always good. Oh yeah, there. Oh my God. Yikes.
We got both backs in Pittsburgh, Pat.
Zach, come on, man. That's come on, man. This is Mason Rudolph. That's really dark because it's extra dark because it's true. That's why it's so dark, is because that is happening.
It is pretty dark.
One of the rookies, I tell you, I could talk about Luther Burden the entire show.
Yeah, so Percy Harvin is interesting. I was thinking like maybe a little DJ Moore-esque, but that's more bullish.
Yeah, I mean, this Luther like doesn't have a route tree, I would say. Like I'm not a film guy, but like really I feel like I rarely ever saw Luther running routes. Didn't really seem to be something he did. And he's so though with the ball in his hands, he's like the classic like I don't want to tackle this dude. Like he's kind of scary with the ball in his hand. He's just a lot like Percy Harvin to me. Right? I feel like he's limited at the finer points of receiving, but he's like very scary with the ball in his hands. But also like Percy Harvin, he likes to limp off the field.
Yeah, all of this gives me Jalen Reagor vibes.
I had thought of Reagor a little bit. I think he's a little too explosive for that outcome.
Okay.
We're like, it's maybe unnecessarily difficult to get him the ball, but when you do get him the ball, he actually will make a play. Like Jalen Reagor never even made a play.
No, that's true. Do you think that's because Jalen Reagor sucks and is bad at football?
That's why. I never ever got the idea that Luther Burden sucked. I got the idea that he just was like, he was unrefined and kind of like always the scuttlebutt and the whispers around Mizzou is that he wasn't like terribly interested in getting more refined. He's just kind of like one of the criticisms of him was always, I mean, they say this about every big time college football player, but that, he's just kind of counting down the clock till he gets drafted. And it was kind of always and he has the kind of personality where like the second anything went wrong, everyone would just start making portal jokes like, well, he's going to leave. And so he's an interesting guy. He's an interesting guy.
I feel like you're trying to talk him up, but you're just scaring the bejesus out of me.
Well, yeah, because I'm almost like, this is me sounding like bullish on him by some of the past standards I've talked about him.
I texted you, what do you think about Luther Burden? You said, I think your exact phrasing was hilarious. I think you said, sadly a bust.
So I go in circles on it, kind of.
No, we're on the clock. I like
He's a bust
ETN here, or Diggs. Scattaboo would be another rookie option.
I do like Scattaboo, but I think it's just because I'm a left wing slappy. He's a left wing slappy guy.
He's one of the ultimate left wing slappy. Although he's a little right. He might be a swing voter. Dude,
I like ETN too, but whatever. You got Cam.
Scattaboo's very fun.
And there's like a lot of different, some of them bad, but a wide range of outcomes of Scattaboo. There's a wider range of outcomes to ETN than there would have been without a coaching change. Of course, there was always going to be a coaching change, but Etienne kind of just feels like a finished product. Where Scatterboo maybe will be bitterly disappointed, but I just feel like there's like a wide range of outcomes with him this year.
I'm trying to, Pepper Tony says Scatterboo's right wing coded, but I think he's
kind
also
of
left wing coded.
He's both. He's
both.
He's got a horseshoe effect.
He catches passes though. He
catches
passes, and the metrics are like really strong for him.
He's a metrics darling. That's why he's the horseshoe effect of Scatterboo, where there's a little something for everyone at both fringes.
Is he a uniter? Is he the man we need to bring the country back together?
Apparently so.
Get him Scatterboo on Sundays?
Who knew?
All right. Could use a unifier right now.
He tried to take over a playoff game. I like the young man.
Yeah, his floor seems like Brian Robinson. Some of his comps are like deeply concerning, like a Buck Allen. Charles Sims, I would say. Throw out there.
Buck Allen feels really on the nose for him. Actually.
Yeah. No, Buck Allen is like firmly in the range of outcomes.
Wow, that feels eerily on the for two players I had never thought of in the same context before. That feels like eerily similar, actually.
Yeah, I know. But he's got some other guys that are more exciting. Jay Ajayi came up.
Jay Ajayi, man,
another
one guy I wish could have had a healthy knee.
Right, elusive, caught passes. He's big. He's really good in short yardage. Really consistent.
I feel like he's surprisingly elusive. Scatterboo. That's what I would say.
Yeah. What's Scatterboo positive comp? Ajayi. Let me pull up my other comps for him though.
Like in that playoff game, they were kind of overmatched, but he looked like he belonged on the field in that playoff. It was against Texas, right? I thought he looked like he belonged on the field in that game, which I thought was a good sign.
Now Bateman here is a decent pick for us to stack Lamar and gives us a wide receiver 5. That's probably where I would want to go.
Better in best ball. Sign him up.
Better in best ball. I don't take a ton of Bateman, but I like stacking Lamar.
You don't take a ton of Bateman since when?
Since this year, I guess. I'm not hugely into the price, but
let's review here. It's the first time you haven't really been interested in Bateman, except for this draft, where I happen to be with you.
Except for this draft, where I took him.
Yeah, you are.
David Montgomery, I think, is kind of vaguely comparable to Scatterboo.
I like that comp a lot too, actually, because Demont is always a little more explosive than you think.
Yeah,
I like that comp. Scatterboo, I did not know what to think until I formed way too concrete of opinions watching that Arizona State Texas game. I was like, there was a few times where he should have gotten hit for like a huge loss, and he didn't. I was a fan.
Yeah, no, he's really good. Like, so here's another positive comp. He's less athletic, but Zach Charbonnet is a similar style guy.
I'm out.
That was a positive one.
Yeah,
Rashad White is a positive comp, which sounds
I can see that
not
one
so positive, but it worked. It worked in the 7th round a couple years ago.
I would say Rashad White qualifies as a positive comp still, even though he's had like a sort of a star-crossed, frustrating fantasy career. Really not a bad outcome for his like overall career, Rashad White.
Meat Gazer also pointing out the schedule works in Scatterboo's favor because week 17 falls on January 6th.
Oh my god! Come on, man.
Oh man. So his top comp is probably the scariest. I think it's a Buck Allen level. Oh God.
Yeah.
His top comp is for me statistically, Devontae Booker.
What if he instead of Buck Allen is Javorius Allen?
Is that better?
Buck never earned Javorius.
Think about your name is Javorius, which is honestly
insane already,
a pretty sweet name.
Yes.
Javorius, I'm into that. And it's like, no, I got a nickname. Oh, Nickname. Wow. Okay, what is
I
it?
know.
Buck.
Most of us aren't fortunate enough to have one insane name, and he had two. I did always think that was very interesting about him.
Buck would be fine if your name was like John. That'd be cool. Yeah. You could dress it up.
Yeah, Buck, or your Bubba or something.
What was Buck? Do you know where Buck came from?
No, I do not. Every crazy athlete nickname story is always like when he was 3 years old, he saw a giant buck and pointed at it and said Buck. And then his whole family called him Buck for the rest of the time.
Then that became his name.
Yeah. We almost had something like that in my family where my son started calling his younger sister Squirrel for no reason. And then for like an entire year, everyone just called her Squirrel. But we did grow out of that, thankfully.
So the sidekick likes the quarterbacks just to kind of make sure we get that taken care of. I think we can probably push it a little bit. I kind of like Jordan Mason here. Yeah,
I do too, because I was a bit surprised, excuse me, that they ran it back with Aaron Jones. They're basically, we can't do that again. And then they didn't say they didn't like him, but they acknowledged that he can't get that many touches again. They got lucky that he held up under that many touches. Late in the season, they were trying to force the Cam Akers issue a bit. I think Jordan Mason will get like legitimate run. And he fits really nicely with this running back room, which is something we're working on getting into the cycle. Sorry to talk over you. Sorry. The fact that they traded for him suggests that there probably won't be like a draft surprise. Yeah, I know. I see that all your viewers are making fun of you. So you got hit with an all caps LMAO when you said you weren't a Bateman guy? No, everyone was just like, give me a break. But it's funny. I haven't taken much Bateman. He just, I saw they hit you with the all caps LMAO. Is this about Scattaboo? He's Najee Harris 2.0? Because that is like deeply depressing, but also kind of fun in the 9th round. Yeah. Right. I was taking Najee Harris. When he was in the 9th and 10th. Najee, he wasn't unexplosive at Alabama, but I feel like Cam was a little more. Najee was like very terrifying downhill at Alabama, and it just didn't translate. I feel like Cam's a little different than that. Yeah, he can grind out yards, but he's not. He doesn't hurdle as much, I guess. No, Najee. That was an interesting one. He was kind of a disappointing bust. Oh yeah, there. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, there you go. Whatever. In the 9th round, that's fine. Yeah, the problem with Najee is that he's always in the 4th or 5th round. I think he's better than Najee. I agree, Brett. I think Najee got held up as a receiver because he ran some cool routes and was like, oh, dude, he can run like all these wide receiver routes. He was like horribly inefficient, but don't worry about that. This still tilts me years later. He was not a good receiving prospect. And then he got fed like 17 targets one time by Ben Roethlisberger. Well, he caught like 75 passes, but it was because it was the year Ben couldn't. Ben was in his Tua phase that year. Yes. Where he couldn't move and didn't want to get hit anymore. And so he just, every ball, I think his yards per attempt was like 5.5 that year. It was so bad. It was totally insane. It was like way worse than Tua ever was. What's your build right now? 1 QB, 4, 5. We got 1 quarterback, 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and Brock Bowers. It's pointing us to Tua, to McCarthy. We could go Goddard. We could go with another running back. Do you like? Where are you at on Tua or McCarthy? I think grabbing one of them as quarterback 2 probably makes. I think I prefer McCarthy. I was gonna say I always prefer. Tua's pretty safe. Like I don't hate Tua in best ball because he has plenty of 3 touchdown, 330-yard outcomes. But McCarthy, I just like. Did you get McCarthy by the way? Hopefully, is that what happened just now? Everyone's saying you need Tua. Stop. No, look at this. This is a meltdown. No, stop. Not McCarthy. LO. He couldn't even finish typing LOL. He hit LO enter and then came back and hit us with the LOL. Do you know how tilted you have to be to not get to the second L? The L and the O are next to each other. He went LO enter. Dude, his tilt cries sadness. I approve of McCarthy because we sniped him. Are you serious? Yes, look.
He's drafting out of the 5 hole.
Oh my God. He's in the draft and chatting?
He has Jefferson, and he's been setting up McCarthy this whole time.
You did one of your viewers totally dirty. That's bad constituent services.
Hey, if you want Tua, he's available.
Tua's there. Is Jonnu still out there? I like McCarthy. Despite being a conservative drafter sometimes or having that reputation, I am a mystery box guy.
He took Tua. He took Tua.
That's pretty awesome.
He had Hawk and Jefferson. Man, it was all set up. It was all set up with the double.
He's unsubscribing.
Sorry, bud. I do enjoy. I know now I understand why, but LO when you want to go LOL.
LO is legendary.
LO enter is really getting.
I don't even mean that in making fun of it. I just mean like I understand the emotions. Where it's like you truly can't even get to the third letter. You're so knocked off balance.
No, he's got the sidekick. It's all good. He can bounce back from anything.
That's true.
We're all set.
I like McCarthy just because you have to assume the baseline's very high. I don't know, though. It is weird. I know you listen to the show. Denny and I are kind of like, it would be nice if they would commit to him.
Yeah, I know. They keep being like McCarthy. Yeah, no, I've heard of him.
We drafted him. We
did draft him.
We have him drafted.
That's true.
We would probably do it again. Like, did he say probably? That's kind of weird.
Well, I mean, obviously, we'd rather have Bo Nix and Penix. But...
Do you think they would? By the way,
yeah.
You think if they could do it over, they'd go back and take Bo Nix? Or
you'd almost have to.
You even if you believed in the player, aka McCarthy, you would. I would hope they would do Bo Nix.
You'd have to take Bo Nix. Like, given what Bo Nix just did in an NFL offense,
yes,
you have to take. Like, they were pretty close as prospects, and one of them just had a really good rookie season. You take the guy who take the bird in the hand. Bo Nix is good. Is he amazing? I don't know.
He's a weird one. Bo Nix is a really weird one.
He is
I'm still a little alienated, put off by him like copying like Drew Brees' like mannerisms. The whole thing's kind of weird. But like I feel like he's trying to physically resemble Drew Brees.
Really?
Yes, you should. If you see any film, you'll know, especially late in the season.
Isaiah Likely didn't get back.
That is a real shame, actually.
Yeah.
I'm in on Likely for the first time in a while this year. I'm in. All he ever does is make plays. Anybody else notice this?
I know. We've got I'm glad we took Bateman now. A guy I'm not really that into, but
never really been into him.
Never been into him really. What do you think about Jerome Ford here?
Boy, that's a weird one.
I know it's gross, but it kind of helps fill out the running back room a little bit.
They have so many needs.
The sidekick. Yeah.
The Browns have so many needs too that I don't really know if they're going to be like investing draft capital and running.
It could also go Jalen Wright as a bet on the Dolphins, but
I don't mind Jerome Ford. In fact, yeah, take Jerome Ford.
With the double rookie pick, I just feel like he fits the room. And we're going to end up with more rookies later.
I feel like the Browns will not take a running back on days 1 and 2. Is how I feel about the Browns.
Ford's terrible, better Pat. I think, is Omega King also in this draft? It sounded like a guy who wanted Ford.
The Browns didn't sign a running back, right? I'm double checking this.
Oh, yeah. Omega King's at the 1 hole.
Wow. And you've got quite the audience. This is amazing. Yeah, wow. This running back room is dire. They're going to draft a running back, but I can't really see them doing it on day 1 or 2. Cleveland. I guess maybe they'll go the UDFA route too, actually.
Right. I mean, I think they're going to bring in somebody, but Ford, they trust Ford.
Yeah. They're going to do
He's going to have a role.
Yeah, for sure. He could be this year's Rico Dowdle.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
I kind of thought that was your thought. He's like surprisingly young too. I just looked, he's only turning 26 in September.
Yeah.
Ford. So, well, that's the big hunt. Many people are saying the fantasy season will not really begin until we identify this year's Rico Dowdle.
That's true. Actually, what everyone's saying. Who is the people? You know how the normies are. Who is this year's Rico Dowdle?
They are demanding to know.
They have to know.
I would like to know. It's Jerome Ford. I love. I'm this is I've just take locked on that one. By the way, Matt Kelly back in the day invented the phrase take lock. I now have take lock. Nothing will shake me. The rest of the summer, I was like, yeah, Jerome Ford kind of just reminds me of this year's Rico Dowdle. And like, Pat, they drafted Genty. Like, are you sure about that? No, yeah. He's this year's Rico.
No, don't worry about
it. Yeah. What if they draft Genty, man? No one has even spoken that. But what if the Browns? They seem to still think they're contending. What if they went BPA and there's not a?
I just think at that point, like the analytics is over. If this front office who like still gets
Paul DePodesta is not going to allow that to happen.
Yeah,
not going to allow that to happen. I haven't even seen that as like a vague rumor, by the way. I'm not trying to act like anyone's been saying that.
No, I don't think that happens. But
what if John Mara is so tilted he makes the Giants after losing Saquon? He's like, we need the next Saquon, and they take Genty at 3.
Now we could take DJ Giddens is a guy that I like.
You're gonna have to tell me something about him.
He's like he's out of Kansas State. He's real shifty.
Oh, I know what that guy is. Yeah. Isn't he like really tiny?
No, he's like 212.
Okay. Who was the guy? Remember they had a Darren Sproles clone. Oh, this guy's huge.
Oh, Algiers here. He would be solid. We could also go Lamar with Stafford with Puka, but I don't really think we need to do that. But he's a value.
How many times do you do three QBs?
I don't think we need to with Lamar. It would be helpful if these two share the same bye, but go. Do you want to do Algier or take the
mystery
rookie
box? You decide. Nope, there you go.
Let's do the mystery box.
He could even be DJ Giddens.
He is. In fact, he is.
Giddens was not who I thought he was.
We're getting pushback on the Browns contending. Contending for what?
Well, no. I didn't say they. I said they think they are. They didn't because they didn't trade Myles Garrett.
That's true.
They should have traded Myles Garrett, but they think they're contending. Is all I meant by that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're not at all.
They are not.
Not in that, especially in that division. My goodness, but. They're not contending. Like they're in the division with the Ravens. The Ravens speak for themselves. The Bengals are going to bounce back. The Steelers with Mason Rudolph, of course, speak for themselves. The Browns have no chance. Yes. Is Arch Manning good, by the way?
I don't know. Does anyone know? He couldn't pass Quinn Ewers yet.
Like, what a messed up. How do you allow Quinn Ewers to Texas? Like, they should have, even though he was good, they should have sent Quinn Ewers into the portal last
Who's
year.
Good?
Quinn Ewers for college. He was good. He was good in college. Not for the NFL.
Was he?
He was good enough.
Every Texas receiver, the first thing you hear is, well, he was playing with Quinn Ewers, so you got to throw out all of his tape.
He was good enough where he was always going to be a distraction. He's the kind of player where they needed to get him off the roster so they wouldn't use him. It's kind of what I was trying to say with Quinn Ewers. Like, you have Arch Manning, just accept it, go with it. Maybe it won't work. You need to remove the temptation from the roster, almost like Kenneth Gainwell. Or who is it?
No, I've got the perfect comp. It's Zach Ertz and Trey McBride.
Oh, yes. Dan and I were talking about this recently, too, with someone. Where, they had to get this guy off the roster to, otherwise they would physically be incapable of not featuring them. I forget who it was, though. That's what Texas needed to do with Quinn Ewers, though. I don't know how on earth you have Arch Manning on your roster for 2 years and he doesn't start. After all that.
Apparently, I don't know if this is true, but Brett's saying he can run. He's athletic. A Manning being mobile,
I know,
is
it's fake news.
We now have Deion Sanders' son who's getting knocked because he's not athletic. He's like you can't take him in the first round. He's not athletic.
I know.
And then you have Arch Manning who's going to be mobile. What? I just assumed he was a statue. Yeah, he can run. What's going on? The Mannings are running now, and the Sanderses are statues.
This is still a strange and mysterious country. Big country, a lot of country out there. It's a big world.
There's a country out there.
Big world in the United States.
Still wide open in parts.
Yep. Now we're going to be getting college football prospects from Greenland, by the way. Too soon. That is way too soon, actually. I shouldn't joke about that. Very dark. We're not going to joke about that.
Mm.
We'll joke about that off the air.
We are live, Pat.
Yeah.
We are live.
So dark. Anyways.
Alec Iomanor, as you can see, top of the mind, top of the sidekick. He's a dude out of Stanford. Do you know him at all?
No, I do not.
Well, let's take him.
Stanford still has a program.
RJ Harvey, do you know him?
No, don't embarrass me. No, I don't. Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's also pretty fun.
Where's
I almost want to take him.
Yeah, just take another running back. Who cares?
Let's take Harvey.
Take all the mystery box running backs. RJ Harvey.
I'll demonetize the stream later and play you some RJ Harvey. RJ Harvey's very fun.
I see he's 24. Yeah, I'm out. Never mind. Yeah, he's been at UCF
only have 5 receivers
for the pandemic. I'm out.
No, yeah, he's 20. Yeah, he's 24 years old. Through his first 3 seasons, I know I'm really selling him right now, but through his first 3 seasons in college, RJ Harvey had 3 carries for 3 yards. He was a quarterback, I believe, at Virginia.
He was at UVA. I just saw.
Yeah, transferred to UCF. Converted to running back. Didn't really play, and then was shaping up like he was going to have a role and tore his ACL before that preseason. So then he comes back in his 4th season, and he's pretty good. But then he played 2 more seasons after that. Both of those seasons were awesome, like really, really good, and just like jumps off the tape as far as the explosion, the ability, the acceleration. He's like a little over 200, but and he's a good pass catcher. I was thinking that people were gonna be, when I just like watched him, like, the highlights and stuff, I was like, is this a scat back? But the kind of the NFL community vibes on him seem to be like, no, he can actually run normal running back stuff. So,
well, I know you already know this. Like, I don't need to give you this speech, but we just got to get more comfortable with those kind of players, because there's just, for so many different reasons, NIL and actually being allowed to change schools, there's just gonna be a lot more like older prospects that you can't write off immediately. There's just a way wider variety of careers now in college.
Right.
We're there are players in the past who might have languished, who were good and just never got the opportunity. They do get the opportunity now, but sometimes they're like 22 or 23.
Totally.
And so you have to be more comfortable and just can't write off every old prospect.
We could take my boy Hunter Henry, which is a nice value. Gets just done at tight ends. Hopkins, frankly, is a solid pick here. You could do like a Gesicki.
I mean, Henry's going to lead him in targets again. I was going to say, do Henry. Don't do Hopkins, even though you got the stack going. Henry's kind of an undead zombie.
Yeah. We can take some of these gross receivers later. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Henry's undead zombieing pretty hard. How many picks do you have left?
What is that? The 16th round. So we've got 4 left.
Oh, 4. Okay.
Yeah, these go 20 rounds.
I was going to appear that I knew what I was talking about, then I didn't.
Yeah, production as an old in college is still always sus. It's definitely not ideal, but he was No, I guess he wasn't good until his 5th season. He was efficient in his 4th season, and then he was awesome in his 5th season.
I agree that you should still start out skeptical, but you can't just treat it as like a deal breaker anymore. I just feel like we're getting such a wide variety of careers, and I really do believe like he's the kind of player before COVID, before NIL, and all that. If he's bad for 3 years, he just would have washed out, and we would have never heard from him again. But now, like, guys actually get like 2nd and 3rd chances in college, because we know that there's been so many guys over the years that were actually good that has never got a chance, and for whatever reason.
The thing with Harvey is that like he's awesome on a per touch basis. He's like really explosive, and he can be used in the passing game. So like he has ways to get himself like on the radar. Like once he's in camp, he's going to look really interesting.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so like he could earn work over the course of his rookie season and settle into like a 1A role to close the rookie season. Now, does he have an additional level from there? Like a secondary breakout seems actually kind of optimistic for him, but I'm not that worried about his ability to establish himself in an NFL offense. Like one of his comps is Tyjae Spears. His top comp is Michael Carter. He's kind of a more explosive version of Michael Carter, I would say, but it's a similar type of like, if a team asked Michael Carter to be their running back, not their pass catching running back, but to be their running back. Do you remember like Gio Bernard? His best season was his rookie season. Yeah. Remember, that was awesome. They drafted Jeremy Hill the next year.
They did. I thought they drafted him the same year, actually. Am I misremembering?
No, Bernard had 1 year to himself. Yeah. But it's
you compared him to Tyjae Spears, by the way, who was probably younger than him.
Probably is, yeah. But Harvey does have both his ACLs still.
That's good.
Duke Johnson is another comp. Ito Smith, not so bullish, but kind of in that. That's like the mold. Like he's one of these guys who's not just a scat back. It's like you can bring him in and just have him be your running back.
Yeah.
I think most NFL teams will be like, no, let's not do that anymore. But they might do it for the first year.
Exactly. Ito Smith. There's a name not sure. I could have gone the rest of my life and never heard that name again if I hadn't agreed to do this stream.
I would have been naked. Do you wish you still lived in that world?
No, I don't actually. I always love remembering some guys. So I'm glad someone had to say it. So someone had to bring up Ito Smith.
Someone had to bring him up.
Someone on a March 28th drafting stream had to mention Ito Smith.
Oh man. All right. Let's see. Getting sniped on DeAndre Hopkins is pretty brutal.
That's right.
You don't like the way that feels inside.
No.
It's getting actually pretty bad at receiver. All these guys that I thought would be available later are gone. Jack Besh, I thought we would have. He's gone. Bond went. I don't know. Douglas is not so great. I don't think he's a great fit for what we have going on. Kyle Williams was. Do you have any love for him over at NBC? Do they make you like Kyle Williams?
No.
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 Nope. We could take Douglas. We'll see if Williams comes back.
Kyle Williams, he's Pac-12, right? Or former Pac-12.
He's Chris Sims' number 2 wide receiver.
That's right. I was wondering why he was coming up a lot this week. Chris likes to go off board.
Chris just watches the tape and then tells us what he thinks.
What's great about Chris and gets him into online trouble sometimes is that he's not a group thinker. And so
no, he's not.
Which we need more of, but it's really good when it pays off. When it pays off, he understands it's not going to pay off every time too. But I was thinking he was Utah at first, but he was Wazoo, right? Kyle Williams.
I think Washington State.
Wazoo as they're known.
Yeah,
that's right. I know. I saw Chris getting quote tweeted earlier this week.
Yeah, I mean he's it's a process that's by definition going to get you off the beaten path because there's this is how I was feeling a while. Like when we first were starting the process, I was like, someone has Jackson Dart over Shedeur and they're not saying it. Someone does. Like someone finished their eval. Like if it's any kind of process that spits out, like if you're charting or if you're grading or whatever, like if it's sort of a standardized process in any way, someone's coming out of that with Dart ahead of Sanders, but then they're reporting it as Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, because I was like, no one's for as not into Sanders as a lot of the scouting is. It's weird that he's always number 2. It just feels groupthinky,
No, it's an amazing point. And it's lots of areas are prone to groupthink for some reason. Draft boards, or because you don't want to get quote tweeted, you don't want to get dunked on, or Chris is just like, whatever.
Chris doesn't care.
I'm gonna get quote tweeted. I'm gonna get dunked on, and Jackson Dart, by the way, he's one guy where like I form my opinion in one instance and will never. First off, you can make your pick here. Then I'll tell you.
Let's go, Kyle Williams. I've drafted him maybe once, but the one thing about the Sims number 2 ranking that I do kind of buy into is like he's probably more live to go day 2 than I was thinking. I thought he was like a day 3 guy, but if Kyle Williams is a round 3 pick, I'm kind of intrigued by a dude that really wasn't drafted in this tournament. The tournament's almost 70% full, and he wasn't really being taken.
If someone like Sims, dude's putting him as their number 2 receiver, that he's hearing that like, oh yeah, teams actually like this guy like way more than people think.
Pat, how you feeling about this team?
Yeah, no, Pat. When you did that, and I had nothing to do with it, just you.
Well, it's a nice team you got there. I'll see you around. Just stop responding to my text.
I couldn't cast any stones because I'm gonna have to go learn who half the players are now. Behind.
I think it's honestly a pretty fun team. So
it is. I like too. If you're going to draft before the draft and before the schedule release, I feel like you need to lean into mystery boxing, to be honest, because you could get some like insane outcomes. So I think it would be kind of like silly, even with like guys in the NFL, like JJ McCarthy. I think it'd be kind of silly to like draft like certain or set outcomes when you have like these wide probability players where you could get some like really insane outcomes. I like leaning into that.
I agree.
Jackson Dart, though, don't need to hear anything else or see anything else after, I believe it was the end of that Florida game where he threw an interception like every other pass. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I think like 2 of them counted, like 2 or 3 of them didn't count. Like, this guy does not have it. Nope, never going to be a Jackson Dart guy.
Do you have any other strong college prospect takes?
Strong college prospect takes.
Like, where are you at on the quarterbacks other than Dart?
Who are the quarterbacks right now? Again,
Ward, Shador.
Ward. My take. Ward was someone who I had major takes on because I saw a lot of his games, and I really do buy kind of into the poor man's Mahomes. Emphasis on the poor man's, but or maybe like the rich man's Jameis, where he can like throw you into any game. He can
rich man's Jameis. I mean, this is a fantasy show. That's just a lot of people's ears perked up.
He can throw you into any game. He will throw you out of some games. But like a guy who in the efficiency era is like just a thrower. Like I liked to see a thrower and like a playmaker. And I think he should be the number 1 pick. It does appear that he is going to be the number 1 pick. Shador is just like, like Andy Dalton, Derek Carr. It's kind of how I feel about Shador. Like, is that too mean, or is that like maybe overly bullish even? That's how I feel about Shador.
I think he could be like on the Athletic Football Show. They're comparing his upside to maybe Purdy. That feels maybe overly bullish, but pretty.
He reminds me of like Andy
Franklin,
Dalton,
by the way.
I saw that. He reminded me of like Andy Dalton, kind of. I don't know why. I think he reminds me of Dalton and Carr just because that's the part of the board I feel like he should go in. More than like his playing style, I feel like he's like a Dalton or a Carr. Like, is a good outcome for him. Because that's not a bad outcome.
I mean, Carr, I don't know if he's a Carr. I think he's like, because Carr's like actually pretty good downfield, like deep. I think the issue for him is that he takes sacks. I know his protection was really bad. So
many sacks.
Yeah, but his like pressure to sack rate was bad. Like it. So I don't know.
Wasn't it better as this last year, or am I imagining that?
I can pull it up. Because
I know it was really bad in 2023. I think it was supposedly a little improved last year. I think his protection was supposedly better last year.
Let's see. Shador in passing. All right.
My
so
neighbor is getting their yard mowed, by the way, in case you hear a giant.
I can't hear it. Yeah. He was better. Yeah. 25% pressure to sack rate in 2023, which is bad. And then 20% in 2024, which is also like bad, but not.
Isn't 20% bad?
It's bad, but it's not like, oh God, this guy's like, he's doomed. 25% is almost 25% is like borderline Hackenberg.
Is it your last
20% is more like Burrow-y. It's I think better than Burrow.
Do
you have any of these guys? Yeah. Torrey Horton I take now. He was really productive. We could go with something more boring. Honestly, I feel like maybe like a Slayton.
Slayton's contract probably deserves to be drafted. Man, I have so much to learn, by the way. So much to learn.
I just feel like the room. Slayton felt like he fit what we're doing.
He got $12 million a year. I mean, first off, maybe actually play him now. He's been one of my all-time dynasty lost causes. Darius Slayton.
Slayton's good, man.
He's been on my team. He's been on the Kenny Yeboah team since the second he came into the league. I've had Darius Slayton like 6 years. I've never once cut him. I've resisted a few like buy low trade offers on him. Feature the young man, even though he's old now. Feature him.
But. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to feature him, but they should. Not ahead of Malik Neighbors, but no. All right, so here's the team. We got Lamar Jackson, J.J. McCarthy, little zero running back room with Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren, Cam Scatterbo, Jordan Mason, Jerome Ford, DJ Giddens, and R.J. Harvey. I honestly love this running back room. We get some early season stuff going on, some vets. We got a bunch of rookie high upside swings.
The running back room could be like catastrophically, like it could be like your team could be DOA by week 4. Like
for sure.
If these running backs don't actually
this team could be dead by week
totally
4. Like not even this team could have Cam Scatterbo be a league winner and not even sniff the playoffs.
Yes.
So that's true. We did take some risk at running back. But wide receiver, Puka, Garrett, Jordan Addison, Jalen Waddle, Rashad Bateman, Pop Douglas, Kyle Williams, Troy Franklin, Darius Slayton. Played for some of the deep threats to give us a little spike week at some point. Solid room. Brock Bowers and Hunter Henry at tight end.
You need a Bowers repeat. You're gonna need.
We're getting more than a repeat.
I think you're right. You were right on Brock Bowers last year because you were really pro Bowers, right? Where you weren't even. I remember you not being that concerned by the landing spot where everyone else was.
I was. So I had my thing was that in Dynasty I never wavered. He was an incredible prospect. I think people really got in their heads about him not working out. And then literally got in their heads because they saw him next to Gronk in a picture. Yeah. And actually, I think that actually affected his stock. I think people lowered him in rankings because he didn't look as cool as Gronk.
He did not. No.
He
doesn't. Yeah, he
doesn't.
He's not going to claim that he does.
No. But yeah, in Best Ball Mania, I was like a little bit less bullish at the very beginning. Then Jacob Sanderson told me to stop being a boomer, and I listened, and I was in.
I love Jacob. Even though he's Canadian, we're not allowed to talk to him
anymore. We're not allowed to talk to him, but yeah, he's a good guy.
Can't DM him anymore. That's been disabled on Twitter. You can't DM Canadians anymore.
That's true. Please call it X. Shador is terrible as a comment. I feel like Shador is star. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Thank you. I was literally pulling that up to talk about. This guy's so polarizing.
It is. There's got to be one every year too. A quarterback prospect that's like a complete Rorschach test.
He's such a boring prospect to me. Like honestly, I think he's almost like Teddy Bridgewater.
That's a good comp because Bridgewater is in the same car Dalton zone, especially in terms of like real life draft capital. That's where he was drafted too.
Right. Or Geno. I think he's like a Geno-y.
Yeah, Geno. They're all same. I think he was 34. Bridgewater was 32. Dalton was like 33. Carr was 33.
I would take him there as an NFL team. I just wouldn't take him at 2 or 3.
Exactly. And I guess that is where the violence and the opinions comes from because he's talking as a top 3. The top 3 thing's not happening, right?
What do you think the top 3 picks are? You think it goes Ward and then the 2 blue chips?
Ward, then Abdul, I guess, and then I did for a while. I thought it'd be Shador. Like, what are the Giants going to do now? I have like no clue what they're even going to do.
I think they're going to let Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston compete for who gets them fired.
I know, because it's never been more over.
Which one of you wants to lose our jobs?
Never, ever been more over. No. I could see them having total nervous breakdown and taking Ginty at 3. Or is it GNT? I always say Ginty.
I'm glad that there is not any video, because, they were all down at Cam Ward's pro day. And you got to think there might have been some begging. Like, we got to get up to one man. Like, no, like, please, you don't understand.
You really do not understand. We're New York, man. Like, you gotta, what it's like up here. Tennessee, no one even cares if you're good. Party city. I'm gonna still sell out every game. Up here, it actually matters. You gotta let us get them.
I do like the pitch of let us trade up to one because we're a real city.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
We got actual journalists. We got journalists here. Yeah, you're just an industry town. Every journalist in Nashville just roots for it to succeed. New York, they root for us to fail. Give us
That's true. Although the Giants were the team, the Giants are supposed to be the Yankees, right? The Jets are supposed to be the Mets.
Yes.
Now, I guess this is all. The Mets, like, periodically are actually pretty good, so it kind of changes things. But luckily the Jets aren't.
No. The Jets never Mets. Yeah. The Mets make the World Series every 8 or 9 years. They're pretty bad usually in between, although now they're kind of becoming a colossus. Although their rotation has a lot of question marks this year. That is neither here nor there.
Would you? I mean, this almost feels like sacrilegious or blasphemous, but is New York fundamentally a baseball city?
Yes. No, for sure. I don't think they would consider that sacrilegious. I mean, when you're
feels like it should be a football city.
Well, what? Because it's the biggest American city. It's the biggest American sport. Well, it's a city of history, though. We're like,
yeah, that's true.
Football cities are all like the expansionist cities, like the Sun Belt towns. Like, and honestly, might be partly because those cities didn't have baseball teams until like the second half of the 20th century. Like Dallas and Houston, were new cities basically, where baseball got so entrenched in the culture in New York and Boston. And like Philadelphia for the Northeast, I guess.
Boston's a football city now with the Patriots.
No.
Come on.
No, Boston.
It's still the Red Sox?
Honestly, the Patriots might be 4-4 in Boston.
Well, now because they're bad.
No, even before, like that was just like a front runner thing. Like Boston
is baseball, Mr. Grapefruit says. Yeah, okay.
Boston's baseball, and even the Bruins and Celtics, like they don't front run. They're always good. I feel like Boston just front runs the Patriots. Whereas like the Red Sox are, of course, like life or death still. New York's a baseball town too.
Pats are technically not Boston, but I think
they're Boston. They're Boston. But
now, I think is there going to be another draft? No, we're gonna wrap it up. We're just gonna talk a bunch of BS. So if you're waiting for another draft, don't stick around.
Did you want to do it? Would you have done another one if I had agreed to? By the way.
Yes, but we don't have to.
Yeah, no, I can't anyway.
Yeah,
but I was just saying, you can imagine if I did. If I had said that I could.
We'll just think about. New York should be a basketball city because Madison Square Garden is right in the middle of the city. And
it wants to be a basketball city. But the Knicks,
is. They can't pull it off. Like
St. John's was selling out games at Madison Square Garden this year.
Madison Square Garden is a pretty nice venue.
It is. I've been there.
Yeah, it lives up to the.
It was amazing. I saw LeBron play there actually.
That's nice.
New York's a baseball town though, and then a basketball town. It's not a football town at all. Actually, it's not a football. New York's an everything town. That's one of the beauties of New York. But,
well, the issue is the stadium's in New Jersey. You have to take a train. Here's how you know it's in New Jersey. Like it's really in New Jersey. In New York City, you have to take a train and then transfer in Secaucus to get to the stadium. It's not even like it runs direct to the stadium.
Yeah, I've heard
you have to go to Penn Station and then transfer. It's crazy.
That is brutal. I've been almost, I think, every New York sports venue except for the Meadowlands or MetLife. I've never been. I don't know if I've ever been in New Jersey. Really, I know I've been in New Jersey actually, but I've never been to a game in New Jersey. It's a baseball town. If you have the New York Yankees in your town, you're a baseball town.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's
and the team there. So listen, New York is neurotic about the Jets, but New York is really, really neurotic about the Mets. Like really, really, really do not come here.
This is scaring me. The caucus is the heart of darkness. Do not come here. Oh my God.
What Jersey's reputation is so weird.
Miles.
Why did we allow Jersey to become Jersey? Like so much self-loathing, and everyone who's not from Jersey just makes fun of it.
I also lived in Jersey City. Not a huge fan. I mean, it's fine, but like it's
Jersey City is a classic. Like
New York.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be in New York, I should just move across the river and be in New York.
Jersey's great at making people move to New York. Like Jersey, if you're in Jersey, you're like, this is fine, but I wish I was in New York.
Yeah.
Maybe I will be next year. I am, and I was assuming it would be much better, and I was actually wrong about how much better it would be. It's even better than I thought it would be to have moved from New Jersey to New York. I lived in New Jersey. I lived in Montclair and in Jersey City.
But why didn't you tell me it was this much better? Wow, this is kind of messed up. Why didn't anyone? I thought you guys were my friends. No one told me this. Best ball drafting, huh? When should I come back? Should I come back before or after the draft when I know more about these players?
Either way. Because
you're doing this every Friday.
I think I'm gonna do this every Friday, so you're welcome to jump back on.
So I'm inviting myself back on. I would like.
Well, no, you were already invited. I just didn't say it yet.
All right, good.
Currently, there's a damning clip of Ted McMillan. You want to close with that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do actually. Ted, I'm a little skeptical.
Well, you're about to be a lot more skeptical because this clip sounds bad.
Lay it on us.
Pulling it up. Let's see. Oh God. Okay.
Ted, by the way, I can vouch for the Drake London comp. So like I saw him in person, didn't meet him, but I was like basically standing by him. Very big, very, very big guy. Huge.
Okay.
Many are saying huge.
Many are saying. Let me share this. All right.
Why does Nick Underhill have a damning Tet?
I don't know, but here it is. Can you guys hear this?
I don't. You know what? You don't watch football at all.
Oh, I've heard this one. Yep.
Is it hard to watch film then if you don't like watching football?
Yeah.
For real? That's crazy.
I don't like watching film either. I don't ever need to watch it by myself because we go over as a receiver group.
I don't. Well, you know what?
That doesn't seem great.
Maybe he's just messing with them, but it doesn't seem like he is.
That's not the best thing I've ever heard.
No, especially when you're not coming like, well, at least he's coming from the SEC, where every week, you know, he's playing like an NFL style roster. Like, no, you're coming from the Big 12, dude. And okay, none of them like watching film. Like,
none of them. Yeah, whatever, man. Whatever.
Some of them do. Film. What percent?
I like the highlights.
I wonder what percent of like receivers really grind. But probably, I don't know, a lot actually. Most of them do. Never mind.
If you're a receiver, if you had a guy who's a receiver, would you prefer that he be really into watching film or really into practicing his routes?
Practicing for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Actually,
I don't know if that matters.
It doesn't not matter, but it
doesn't not matter.
It can probably be easily overstated how much it does matter.
You would take the guy who is just in love with football, can't stop watching it, and can't stop practicing, obviously.
Yeah. Receiver, you might be better off them focusing their mental energy on the physical aspects.
Right.
There's
Gronk
a lot.
Didn't watch film either, famously. Remember, he said Brady tells me what to do.
Honestly, I could see that being a successful mentality for a lot of pass catchers. Like, I need to just focus on my body and like what I can do.
Yeah, although Tyler, because this is a good point, because I think he's going to be someone who has to win in the intermediate area, so like he might like really need to have a good understanding of coverages.
No, he's gonna have a good understanding of being huge. That's all that matters for him. He needs to be good at body control.
You know what I have a big understanding of? How much bigger I am than you. Yeah, it's not gonna be a problem that I haven't watched film, okay?
Yeah, but you don't want to hear the word there that was really concerning was any. Any
yeah,
film.
Any does make you wonder.
Yeah, any's a bit. Yeah, I don't love it, but yeah, I do it. Yeah, I do it when I need to.
Miles pointing out we don't know his read. If he is he a reader? Does he read Inner Excellence?
Probably not.
Short Kings down bad. All right.
Yeah, they are.
Let's go ahead and get out of here. Pat, you mentioned the coaches article. Excited to check that out.
I'm actually hoping to publish it 2 weeks from yesterday. Before we get too deep into draft season.
I like it. There is actually kind of a lull.
There is a bit of a lull.
We're approaching.
Yeah, I'm trying to hit the
arguably kind of in it.
I know we are.
Yeah.
It's going to be raging by the time I publish. It's a
no, it won't be raging. It doesn't. I don't feel like it doesn't really pick up until right before the draft again.
That's true. Because people fire a lot of their bullets early on the draft.
Right.
They go through a lot of like mental anguish, like way too early, and feels like a low blow.
It does feel like a low blow, but I mean, you got to sit down to watch film. You know what I'm saying?
You do. Xavier Estrepo, how old is he? Is he real old?
He's not young, but he might be like 23.
I think I might accidentally be conflating his age with his teammate who was on the team for like 40 years.
He turns 23 April 22nd.
Yikes, I'm out. I said earlier you got to be more open-minded to older prospects.
But not if they run a 5.1.
I'm out. Yep. I'm out.
I do like that. He ran clearly like a 4.78 to like 4.85 range, but someone was like, I had him at 5.1. It's like, come on, man. Come on.
Wow. Yeah, you don't want someone you don't want to be in the range where someone can even claim that.
Right.
5.1 is clearly not factual. But the fact that it was like within the range is not good.
He had film in his pockets when he ran. He couldn't put the film down.
VHS tapes in his pockets.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's get out of here. Make sure to check out RotoPat's coach's article coming out roughly 2 weeks from yesterday. Check out everything we got going on at Legendary Upside as well. Sidekick is available over there, as well as DraftKings and Underdog rankings for best ball, and tons of rookie content coming out. See you next Friday. And I'm also going to be back here earlier in the week, pre-recorded podcast with JJ Sagareeson talking the Dynasty prospects. So that'll be a fun one.
Wow. I need to listen to that.
It'll be good. JJ's hit rate is
very high.
100%. 100% on this channel.
Kind of scarily high.
Scarily high. Yeah. So I'm very excited for that one. All right, guys. Have a good weekend. See you later.